Hello, my name is Catherine and I'm with Gingerbread Girl Designs, and this video is on a filling stitch for canvas work called trellis couching. So take a screenshot of this stitch diagram, which is the first of two for this stitch, and let's get started. The purpose of trellis couching in needlepoint is usually to fill an entire space, and that's what we're going to do here. The stitch diagram that I showed you shows a stitch that fills a space that's 8 canvas threads by 8 canvas threads, but sometimes you want to fill a bigger space than that. You use the same method, but you make your stitches bigger. So I'm going to fill a space here that's 16 canvas threads wide by 96 canvas threads tall. So we're going to start with the first layer, which is horizontal stitches as shown in the stitch diagram. You'll follow the numbers from 1 to 8. So we're going to come up at 1, and you'll notice that the first layer runs from one side of the space to the other, but it's one fabric thread in from the top of the space. So we're starting one fabric thread down, but right at the edge of the space. And this is 16 fabric threads wide. I already marked that with an extra needle, so I wouldn't have to count. So that was up at 1, and we're going down at 2 here. And we're going to come up at 3 and go down at 4. And you want these stitches to be reasonably snug. You don't want them floppy because then you'll get a sloppy result in the end. So I'm going to keep on going, filling this space, and you'll notice that I'm alternating directions. So the first stitch went from left to right, and the second stitch went from right to left. That leaves just a tiny little stitch on the back of the work. Because of that, I'm going to start each thread that I use with an away waist knot, and I'm going to leave the thread end loose, and I will finish off all the ends after I do the third layer. So this is the first layer that we're doing here, and I'm just going to keep on going in this way and fill the entire space all the way down to the bottom of my space, which is 96 canvas threads high. As you can see, I've turned my canvas so that the horizontal stitches that we made in the previous step are now vertical. And the reason that I did this is because my space is so wide and I wanted to show the whole thing. So now we're going to do the second layer, and again, we're going to come up right along the edge of the work, which is this line of holes in the canvas here, but one fabric thread in from the horizontal edge. So we're one fabric thread up from here, from where you can see the end of the stitching here, and we're going to go down all the way across, making really long stitches on top of the previous layer. So this second layer is just going to be a few stitches. As you can see, it works up really quickly, which is really nice. And I cut my threads a little extra long for this because the stitches are so long. I have a full yard of number 5 pearl cotton here. And if you're working smaller stitches like Smyrna's or star stitches or something like that, you wouldn't want to use such a long length of pearl cotton. But because these are so long, it works out fine. All right, I'll do a couple more of those and then we'll move on to the third layer. For the third layer of the trellis couching, we're going to follow this stitch diagram, and I'm going to use this thread, Silk Lame Braid by Rainbow Gallery. They make a lot of really cool threads for canvas work. The color is SL25, which is again a soft pink. You can take a screenshot of this stitch diagram and let's get started. Okay, following along with the second stitch diagram that I showed, I came up at 1, which is just one canvas thread down from the first stitch of the trellis couching, and I'm going to make a stitch over top of the first intersection of 2 trellis stitches. And I'm going to continue all the way across the row, making a diagonal stitch across each intersection. And it's fun to vary the color or the texture of your threads that you choose for this part of the trellis couching. Okay, I just reached the end of the row here, and I'm going to come up just below the end of that trellis stitch, and I'm going to complete each X on the way back across. You can really vary the look of this stitch with your thread choices. You can make it look really delicate and lacy if your threads are thinner than this. Or you can use different colors of thread to give a completely different look. I always recommend playing around with your threads on the edge of your canvas, up here on the side, or on a completely separate piece, which I usually call a doodle canvas or a doodle cloth, because you don't really know how the threads are going to interact with each other until you try it out. So you can make a guess about what's going to look good, but you're not really going to know until you try it. As you can see, I have a few rows done of the cross stitches that go over top of the trellis stitches. It really gives those cross stitches a lot of dimension and loft, and that can be a really cool effect in your stitching. So give this one a try and see where you might like to use it. Happy stitching!